That was almost close. Didn't have my mic on. It's important to have your mic on because half of video is the audio that comes with it. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Taylor Campbell here and welcome back to Comic Crash, my little show on the internet where we talk about comic books and stuff. And today, the stuff I wanted to talk about, I wanted to try and talk about something a little bit different today. So I've brought it up before, but a few years ago, when I was going to school up in Idaho, I taught a class on comic book creation. It was like this 12-week program, and at the end of it you had a comic book that you could go ahead and print and publish, and then we handed it out to people, and it was a fun time. Now, to make this class work, along with providing examples and coaching people on their individual projects, I usually had like a 15 to 20 minute spiel at the beginning to kind of prime the group, get people thinking about specific subjects. It was a cool time, and I learned a lot by doing it. In fact, I've mentioned before that that comic book workshop was the genesis of this channel, the reason why I wanted to do it. And I figured, you know what, I think it's about time that I put the concepts that I was talking about in that workshop onto YouTube so all of you guys can go ahead and see it. Here and over a few more videos, I'm going to make this series. I'm going to call it, what's a good snappy name? Comics 101. Yeah, okay, Comics 101, where we're going to go ahead and talk about specific subjects in comic book creation. Now with that in mind, this video we are going to be speaking specifically about comic books, but I do want to point out that the principles in this particular video are going to be, expandable. You can apply it to pretty much any kind of creative project that you are involved in. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you pay attention to some of the habits and tips that I have for you in this video, your life will change. And the way that you look at yourself, the way that you look at others, the way that you look at the creative process will be so much greater than it was before. Now, the first habit on the list here isn't so much a habit as it is a mindset. I want you to remember that creativity is not genetic. It is something that everyone has. Every single person on the planet is creative. In fact, you rely on your own creativity in order to survive and do basic things in life. Anytime you read a piece of information, you have to process the information that you're being given and then recreate it in your mind in a way that makes sense. That's a creative act. And heck, while we're on the topic of comic books, let's just go ahead and pull out a random one. Now, if we just pick a random page here, so here we have an instance where we have Pacifica and Dipper looking at some of these cans, and then the very next panel, everything changes. Their position on the page changes, their expressions change, but there is no real movement happening here. These are two separate images that you're technically seeing at the same time. In order for comic books to even make sense, you have to be creative in how you look at things. It's like more than anything else, I find people who say that creativity is something they either have or they don't have. Like more than anything else. But before we can really participate in any kind of creative act, we need to understand that creativity is something that everyone has. It's something that you have. It's something that you can build on, you can exercise, you can make it stronger. And that might be one of the harder things to hurdle over, I found, with a lot of people, because a lot of people will just say, no, I'm not creative enough to do that. You are creative enough to do anything that you put your mind to. Like, human potential is vast, it's amazing, and you are amazing. So you can do basically anything. And there you go, there's the feel-good moment of the video. Let's hop into the next point, the next habit. The next habit is you need to stop thinking of your own work in terms of good and bad. Over the course of the workshop and life, I meet a lot of people who will say things like, oh, I'm a bad artist, or I'm a bad writer, or I'm a bad creator. I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. And that right there, I feel like that's a really damaging mindset. We creative types, I guess meaning everyone, we all kind of have like this idea that everything can be improved on, which it can. But for a lot of people, what that kind of translates to sometimes is, this isn't good because it isn't perfect, therefore it has to be bad. We might not phrase it like that, but that's a mindset a lot of people hop into. So something I found that was really helpful to explain to people and to try and remember is to not think of a project or work in terms of good and bad. See, in good and bad are really hard adjectives, and they almost feel really finite, right? Like we describe permanent things as either good or bad. I like to use the term refined, because refining is in itself a process. It's not an adjective, it's a verb. You could take anything and you can refine it so that it becomes stronger and more precise. And those are words I think work really well, work a lot better than trying to describe your work as good or bad. It's one thing to say, I am bad at this. It's another thing to say, I'm not as strong in this area. That implies that you can work on it, you can build it, you can structure it, you can make it a strength. Habit number 3 that creative people have is they need to work on their creative process and creative projects daily. In fact, in Comic Book Workshop, I used to tell my people to work on a full comic every single day. It doesn't have to be good, it just has to be there. And the reason for that is because comic books are such a grand art form that have a lot of intricacies, and you understand individual pieces of the process when you understand how they fit into the whole. Habit number 4, you need to warm up before you start a project. I talked about how creativity should be thought of in terms of strength and weakness rather than good and bad. And part of the reason why you should think of it in those terms is because it puts into you the idea that creativity is a muscle that you can exercise and that you can build, which it is. And any athlete will tell you that before you hop into any full workout routine, before you hop into any game, before you hop into any event, you need to warm up. And you can do that in the creative process. So specifically for comic books, things you might consider to warm up, try writing a really quick short story before you hop into writing your real full story that your project entails. Before you start drawing, maybe consider going back and working on some of those fundamentals. Go ahead and start drawing out spheres, draw cubes, work on point of visions, work on vanishing points, that kind of thing. Just draw like a couple of quick sketches before you start into your full project. And I think this could go ahead and apply to any other kind of creative work. If you're a filmmaker, maybe go ahead and get a few nature glory shots before you start filming the actual thing. You know, go ahead and take extra takes. Actors, they warm up a lot by exercising their voice, by exercising their bodies, taking a couple of minutes to do some calisthenics or whatever. So before you work on your creative project, a habit you need to get into is you need to kind of warm up to it. And then you're going to be a lot more impressed with your actual project and your actual work when that time comes. Habit number 5, read comics every day. Now this seems to go without saying, but there's a couple of reasons why you would want to do this. Reason number 1 is this will teach you very quickly from the masters what you like and what you don't like. Maybe even take notes. For a full year, whenever I read comics, I have this document open on my computer, and each page I would go ahead and type out things I liked about that page, things I didn't think worked for that page, things I thought could have been improved. And once I did that, I understood what I was reading a lot faster. Now, you don't necessarily need to go that far. You don't need to take notes on everything that you're looking at. But you should at least be conscious of the idea of, what do I like about this? What do I not like about this? And you will understand yourself a lot better as a creator. and you'll also understand the work and the medium a lot better. Also, if that's not your thing, maybe you just need to read a comic for fun. I was a music major for a good amount of time, and the problem with being a music major, and many will tell you this, is that very quickly the fun of making music disappears because of how much work you're going through. Just, doing tons of different concerts. You're taking way more classes than the average person is as a music major. And so you almost have to stop and just listen to fun music you like for fun, just to remind yourself why you're doing it. Habit number 6, work out, get plenty of rest, eat your green vegetables. So those were the habits that I would tell my friends in the comic book workshop to go ahead and make sure they're implementing into their daily lives. And I full-heartedly stand behind these. I believe that if you pay attention to these habits, that you will be a lot more excited about your creative progress. You'll be a lot more interested in how your projects are going, and you'll be more proud of the work that you create. So, to recap, 1, believe that you are inherently creative, because you are. You have to be. Number 2, stop thinking in terms of good and bad. Think in terms of refinement, stronger, and weaker. Number 3, make comics daily. Go through the whole process, or at least review the whole process every single day. 4, warm up before you hop into the project. You'll be a lot more ready to go, and you'll get all of your, inconsistencies out of the way before you even start. Number 5, read comics on a daily basis. You're making comics because you like comics. You might as well be reading them. And number 6, take care of yourself. It's important to take care of your body, because a healthy body equals a healthy mind, and a healthy mind equals a healthy creative process. So, that's what I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something. Now, if you have any other tips that you'd like to share about how you get into the creative process, things that help you exercise your own creativity, go ahead and put it in the comments below. And I hope that you enjoyed this and that you stick around, because next time on Comics 101, we're going to hop right into defining what comic books are. What are they at their basis? How do you know that you're looking at a comic or not? And of course, the regular videos that we do here, like the comic reviews, the comic book topics, all of that is still coming down the pipeline as well. So, lots of cool stuff happening. I hope that you are as excited about it as I am. So, until that next time, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. And remember to always be your best self.